If you've watched many of my videos, you know that I'm a huge Dungeons & Dragons player. And I'm also a huge LEGO fanatic. And it doesn't take too many videos before you run into the fact that I use LEGO minifigures and LEGO pieces to put together my miniatures for Dungeons & Dragons when my girls and I play together. Since our Dungeons & Dragons miniatures are made out of LEGO bricks or our LEGO minifigures, I am constantly on the lookout for new pieces, parts, minifigures, and also sets on clearance that I might could use or even tweak and then use in Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. Because of that, I typically keep an updated Amazon wish list with LEGO sets that I would like to get for miniatures, as well as checking the clearance sections at Walmart and Targets whenever I can. Recently, I found this Wish set on Amazon.com for relatively cheap, and it is still marked down on Amazon.com as of me making this video, and I'll put a link in the description, although it is not as cheap as it was when I bought it. My understanding is that the Wish sets did not sell too great, but when I looked at this one, I thought this will make a great D&D piece. So let's take a look at it. This Wish set originally retailed for $49.99, and I had seen it on clearance at some retail stores, but it was never quite cheap enough for me to pull the trigger on it until I found it on Amazon for about 20 bucks. It's still on Amazon, clearance, I guess you could say, or on sale. It's not quite as cheap as it was. If you watch Amazon, they jump their prices down and they jump them back up, and you never know what they're gonna do. I think it's sitting right now around $29.99. It comes with these 3 Friends-style doll figures from the Wish movie. I honestly don't remember all of their names. I think this is the main character's mom and her grandfather. Let's be honest, though, I got it for the house. And the little star guy's cute, and maybe you can find a use for him in Dungeons & Dragons. But again, I got this set for the house because once I saw this and saw that it was coming out, Wish aside, whether you like Wish or not, this just looked like a great Dungeons & Dragons miniature piece. It looks like a house you would find in a country setting, maybe on a farm, or maybe even in a village, or maybe it's the front of an inn, or you could add some pieces to it, make it some type of store. And the little well that matches it's great too. One thing that I might consider doing is filling out a little bit more of the roof. If I get some other pieces, I might fill it out a little bit more. I might even get a second set and try to make it a little bit bigger. But it's really neat because it folds out and you can make it spread out more, which is pretty cool. Now, how would I use this for Dungeons & Dragons, you might ask? Well, I was actually watching this set for a particular part of my campaign in which my 2 daughters are going to be given a home, kind of a base of operations by the guy that they work for. And this house and even the color scheme are just going to work perfect for them because they love these pastel colors. Now, you could flip out some of the pieces, swap them out, and maybe use some different colors that weren't maybe so Disney-esque looking. But the way that I would use this in a campaign is I would set it on my map, as you see here. And I would get the old dry erase marker, and I would map out the back of this place. And I'd make it a home. Now, if you're new to the Dungeons & Dragons LEGO scene, you could easily just start with this. Maybe you bought a set that you're going to use in your campaign, and then you can just draw some of the other things that are in this room, like a table with chairs, or maybe there's a chest over here, and you can kind of explain to your players what they are looking at here. Now, I've been collecting LEGO for quite a long time, and it's easy to find some of these inexpensive pieces that you might could fill up a home with. Maybe some chests, some barrels, a sack. You know, there might even be a pickaxe on the ground, or even some bottles, depending on what this house is. Maybe it's an abandoned house, and so you've just got stuff thrown around. But you can easily use Lego or other things that you might have to kind of fill out the room. And the great thing about this back piece now is you've kind of got a backdrop for your campaign. Now, obviously, if you've got characters that are very inquisitive, players that are going to ask you questions about things, you might have to fill out some of the details of this house. Like, hey, what is in that cupboard back there? Or what is this book that's back here? Or let's look upstairs and see what's in there. And you can, randomly do some of that on the fly if you need to, or you can kind of etch some of those things out. But that's pretty much how the girls and I like to play Dungeons & Dragons. And we bring their miniature characters in here, and we tell the story. We'd have the fights if we need to. Maybe this abandoned house has some kind of enemies in it that will attack the players. You can do all kinds of fun things. But also, we reuse a lot of the same sets for different locations. I really like the Hagrid's hut from the Harry Potter theme of Lego because you can use that for a lot of different things. I also have got several other Harry Potter sets that basically are used as backdrops. And so what I will do, just like you see here, is use a lot of these things for backdrops. And you can use part of them for upstairs, and you can explain some of that. But the main thing is, with the Lego, and what I do with my girls is, it just kind of gives them an idea of what this place looks like. Just like when you use miniatures. You could take other pieces and map out the walls if you wanted to. You could even put a little window piece if you might want to do that. But even with regular Dungeons & Dragons miniatures, there's still a big part of the imagination that is used, and you're imagining that you are in this place, and the DM describes things that may or may not be seen in the actual miniatures themselves. And so Dungeons & Dragons is a lot of fun. It uses your imagination a lot, and your miniatures, especially Lego, just help build upon what you're already doing. You could even fill out the outside if you wanted to before your player characters go in. Maybe it's near a river, so you draw a river and you put a boat beside it. Lego trees are a dime a dozen, as well as you can use some of the leaves from some of the bigger tree sets to make some brush on the ground, or you can get bushes. And there's just all kinds of fun things you can do to really make your player characters feel like they are in the world that you are describing to them. I really enjoy Lego, and I really enjoy Dungeons & Dragons, and I just love meshing the two together. So if you'd like to hear more about using Lego sets for your miniatures, or Lego minifigures for your miniatures and your characters, and the player characters that they are represented by in the game, please consider liking and subscribing. It'll cost you nothing. It'll help me out a lot. And until next time, keep playing D&D and keep building.